Swimmers, my name is Jeswick and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be building a Rose lot in Willow Creek. I wanted this to be like a granny house, so we're going to be making everything kind of like old. She's got a little cat, so we'll make a little granny house. I'm trying to make the roof line a little bit more interesting and not just like super plain, so I'm adding this half-hipped roof to it and using it to cover our patio. And next I'm just going to add in a few Strangerville columns in the fence. I'm also going to make like a front yard because we really don't have space for a backyard because this lot is like a 20 by 15 lot, I believe, so we don't have a ton of space, but I wanted to have like some like areas for our sim to garden. The door that I'm using is from Cottage Living and it actually has the same swatch as our Strangerville stuff, so it's perfect. Then I went in and did all of our floor plan and put in some windows in the other parts of the house. And then I'm going to use a wood from Cats and Dogs for the living room and the bedroom and a base game tile for the kitchen and the bathroom. I'm using the same tile in the kitchen and in the bathroom. It's from the Home Chef Hustle Pack. And the wallpaper in the living room and the bedroom is just a base game wallpaper. We don't have a lot of space in the living room, but we do have enough space for a cottage living couch because it comes in this exact blue color that we've been using. I also added a base game chair and the TV from the Basement Treasures kit. I really love the TV, and this is like a grandma's home, so I feel like she just wouldn't update the TV that often if her old TV still worked. I also added one of the functioning radiators from the For Rent pack so that you can stay warm. We also have a cat tower and a litter box in here because we do have a cat and I wanted to make sure I had that stuff. We didn't have a ton of room in the living room though, so I put the litter box in the bathroom and just made it one tile bigger because we could afford that space. And your sim should still be able to get to everything. I did test it in the end to make sure that it was still working and it seemed to work fine. I did have a little bit of trouble with the sink, but I feel like it's because of the clutter that I added underneath of it. So if you have trouble using the sink, they have a sink in the kitchen, so they could still use that one, or you could just remove the clutter if you want it. I just like the way it looks with the clutter underneath of it because there's no like cabinet or anything that it's sitting on. It's just a floating sink basically. I added this little towel rack, a little robe that matches the colors that we have going on in here, and then a little medicine cabinet as well as a mirror above the sink, and then I think that was it for the bathroom. I really like the idea of using this rug from the Werewolves pack, but it just wasn't big enough in here, so I ended up using this one from Growing Together instead, and it also has like the flowery designs on it like the wallpaper does, so I thought it would be nice to use it in here. And then I kept the coffee table, but I moved it over to an actual coffee table and then used the TV stand from the Horse Ranch pack as our main TV stand. And then I thought about adding in this vintage record player from the Get Famous pack, and then it just looked too weird with all the big objects on that side of the room, so I ended up just deleting it and doing a bookshelf instead. I'm adding in this lamp from Growing Together because it actually looks like one of those lights that you would turn on if you're like knitting or cross-stitching, so I thought our granny could do that. I also added in some candles and books from the Tiny Living Stuff pack, and then we also have our little radiator over there behind the seats and couch. The windows are kind of small in this place, so I used these base game curtains instead. I was trying not to use a ton of packs for this. I did end up using like a lot just by randomly adding clutter items. I only used about 20 packs instead of like 30 or 40, which I usually go for. I really tried to cut it down, but I just place a bunch of random stuff from random packs because I'm like, oh, that would look good here, and it just gets out of hand. Moving on to the kitchen though, I'm using these Cottage Living countertops and then a refrigerator from the Cottage Living pack, and then this stove is actually from the Country Kitchen kit, which I just found out the Country Kitchen kit was released like 3 or 4 months before Cottage Living. I would be so upset if I bought the Country Kitchen kit and then like a couple months later they released like Cottage Living pack. I would be so mad. And I feel like it was a bit controversial of them to do that. Like I can understand like releasing the expansion pack first and then being like, oh, by the way, there's also this like smaller pack if you want to create even more cottage kitchens. We're just about done with the kitchen though. I'm just adding the rug underneath the dining room table. We've got these chairs in here from Cats and Dogs. The table I want to say is from Cottage Living also. And I wanted to place some stuff on top of the fridge because we didn't really have a lot of counter space for me to clutter up, and I wanted there to be enough room for your Sims to still like be able to prep food and set food down at. So I wanted to put some of this clutter on top of the fridge. So I'm taking one of these high school years shelves and like placing the object that I want on top of the fridge on it, and then like leveling it off to the height of the fridge. And with the bb.move objects cheat on, you can just like take it off of it and the object will still be at the same height as the shelf was, so that's how I did that. Moving into the bedroom now, I'm using these cottage living side tables along with a horse ranch bed and this rug from the Strangerville pack. It actually matches really well with the stuff in here, and I was actually pretty surprised at this swatch. It has llamas on it, and we just did a llama shell challenge from Little Simsy like 2 weeks ago, I think. So I thought that that would be a fun throwback to that build. Speaking of Little Simsy and shell challenges, she is doing one right now for her charity stream for St. Jude, and I have it recorded, and I think I'm just gonna wait until I post it until she does the tours for them. I think it's on like the 21st, so be on the lookout for that one. It's called the Shark Shell Challenge on her gallery if you want to go and try it out for yourself. I'll be in the streams watching throughout the whole month of her charity streams. I love her charity streams. I think they're hilarious and they're great. They go for a great cause too. And I'm going to be honest, this shell challenge was actually really hard. It has like a really long diagonal wall in it and I just could not figure out what to do with it. But we're going to move on to the landscaping now. I've also added a flower arranging table and a rocking chair to the front porch just so your sim can sit out there and knit. I also swapped the fence on the porch for a different Strangerville fence, and then I wanted to use the one that I had on the porch originally as the front yard fence. So along the fence, I'm going to use these blue bushes just in the front by the sidewalk. I'm not going to put anything on the side. I was trying to keep this within a smaller budget, so we're at about 25,569,000 simoleons for the whole build, which is really, really not that bad considering how many packs I used in this. I could have been way more expensive. I'm adding in these gardening plots and a little wind chime on the porch. They actually get like a happy moodlet from the wind chime, so I like to add those a lot in my builds. I also added in the clothesline and wash basin from the laundry day stuff pack so that your sim can wash their laundry and hang it up outside. I'm also just going to go around and add in some lights so that our sim can see when it's nighttime. I just wanted to have a few of these growing together lights. They look like the solar powered ones, but slightly more modern. I'm also adding in our mailbox so I don't forget. I added in a little bird bath from the base game, and then these low-lying pale flowers. They're like my go-to large ground coverage flower. I don't know if you guys can hear my dog snoring right now, but it is so loud. I literally thought it was like a helicopter flying over my house, but no, it's my dog. I didn't even realize that she was in here until I looked over and saw her hiding under a bunch of blankets. But that is just about all the time I have for today's speed build. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button because it really helps out. I try to post a few videos a week, so subscribe and hit the bell button to get a notification every time I post a new video. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will see you all in the next video. Dag dag!